Hello and welcome everyone to Everybody Yoga Week 2. So last week we focused on upper body release, and we'll welcome Daisy to the practice as well, again, making her showing. But last week we focused on an upper body release. This week we're turning our attention to a low body release. And so with low body release, we are going to be working a lot with the hips and with the legs. And one disclaimer that I like to give on the low body release whenever we do postures that are getting into the hips is oftentimes, just as they say, the issues are in the tissues. We find that we have emotions or thoughts or physical sensations that are arising for us that come out of nowhere. And this is quite common. It's quite normal. So I just want to normalize that for you, just to stay with your experience, to breathe through it and be present in your body today and honor where you're at. Now, you may not have that experience at all. You might just feel the physical sensations of stretching your body and getting a good stretch on. And of course, that is wonderful as well. So wherever you find yourself today, I invite you to just honor that place in our Everybody Yoga class. So a couple of prompts you may wish to have but aren't required, excuse me, Daisy, are a couple of blocks. If you like to use blocks in your practice, you can also use anything with lift, such as books. And maybe a pillow or a blanket to elevate your hips or to use under your neck, because we'll be doing some back work as well today. So whenever you are ready, you can hop on your mat and we'll get started. As we start today, I invite you to come down to your back body. Maybe you use your pillow underneath your neck. Maybe you use it under your hips. And as you come down to your back body, we're going to be doing a psoas release. So psoas is a deep inner hip flexor muscle that is often too tight for us. It can come into constriction whenever we're in fight or flight response or have high anxiety that we're going through. So we're just going to give it some love and care today. So to get there, I invite you to take the soles of your feet to your mat, and then you're going to walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat, and then allow your knees to fall in towards one another. They may even touch and be able to rest on one another. Your toes can face slightly inward, or they can point forward, whatever feels better. And just begin to notice how that already feels in your body, in your hips, in your low back. Hands can be at your sides, on your belly, over your heart, or one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly. And I invite you to begin to find your breath. Noticing how you're breathing, deepening your breath by filling and expanding through your belly space. Filling up the lungs and taking slower exhalations. You might notice that natural rise and fall happening in the abdomen and the heart space. And no matter what's gone on in your day today or what's gone on in your week, the invitation always is to welcome yourself to this sacred space and sacred time. Notice how you're showing up and thank yourself for showing up to this practice, to this set aside time and space. As you breathe, I invite you to release any tension you find in your facial muscles around your eyes, cheekbones, or jaw. Just allow yourself to be completely supported here. And we'll be here for a few more breaths and a few more moments. And as we're here, I'd like to read to you a poem written by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. And this poem is called The Invitation, taken from her book, The Invitation. And so you're welcome just to notice the words as I read them, maybe see where you see your life in this poem, what resonates for you, what speaks to your heart as you breathe and as you be. She says, "It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from the fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, or fade it, or fix it. Want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own. If you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, realistic, or remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it is not pretty every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you've studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else fades away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. This is the invitation. Whether it is out of those words from the invitation, whether it's out of your own heart or mind's eye, I invite you to set your intention for the rest of our practice together. This could be a goal, a heart focus, a word, phrase, or image. Just allow that to surface inside. And I invite you to take a full breath in, a slow breath out, exhaling through the mouth. And from our psoas release form, I invite you to toe heel your feet inward to about hips distance apart with knees pointed up. And just begin to windshield wiper your knees to the left and to the right. You might even allow your knees to fall over to one side and pause for 1 or 2 breaths. And to take that same form to the other side. From here, we'll draw the knees through the center and then begin to hug in the knees towards your chest. You might find yourself in stillness. You might find yourself rocking side to side. Perhaps even drawing circles with your knees. Getting a little bit of a low back massage here. And if you're drawing circles, you can switch the direction of your circles at any time. Good. From here, I invite you to allow your knees to come over to the right side as you take a moment to come to the right side with your ear, falling towards your arm, and then allowing the palm of your left hand to push you and guide you up as we come to a seated space. I haven't met him yet, but this is Mr. Bentley, and he has come to join us for a moment. But as you come to a comfortable seated space, you are welcome to sit up on your pillow if you like. If you need the hips extra elevated, you're also welcome to sit straight down on your mat. And from here, I invite you just to allow your feet and soles of the feet to come together, coming to a butterfly. Okay, and just notice what you notice. You can hold toes, feet, ankles, or shins. And allow yourself to ground through the sitting bones. Full breath in, full breath out. You might even flap your knees, or I like to call it flapping your wings as we're in butterfly. And then as you bring your knees to stillness, if you took that motion, I invite you to begin to take your upper body circles. Forward, back, and around. Notice anything you notice happening in the hips here, stretching of the inner thighs. As we circle around the tailbone. And then you might reverse the direction of your circles, going the opposite way. And just begin to listen inside, moving with your natural rhythm and pacing, taking your time here, honoring where you're at today. As you begin to draw your circles to stillness and to a close, I invite you to keep the right foot coming inward, and then you'll outstretch the left leg to the side. Now from here, you might want to point and flex your left foot. You might even roll your ankle forward and back. Great. And then we'll begin to face the upper body towards that leg and just begin to come into a fold. And you can fold as much as you need to here today. Allowing the head and neck to release as you ground through both sitting bones. Softening the kneecap, following your breath, recalling your intention or anything that spoke to you in the invitation. Great. We're going to lift up from this fold. If it feels safe in your hips to do this, you're going to take the right hand behind you. It can also be out to the side if that feels better. You're going to lift the left arm up into the air and then roll open the hips to the front. Now still stay gentle here. This doesn't have to be extreme. Breathe into the hips and then lower them back down. Circle the top arm down. Good. So we're going to switch sides. Left foot comes in, right leg stretches on out. And go ahead and point and flex your right foot. Maybe roll your ankle a couple of times. Maybe a few times. And whenever you feel ready, you can find that stillness in your foot and ankle. Begin to face your upper body towards your outstretched leg and then begin to fold. Once again, begin to soften your knee. Breathe. Notice the stretch happening in the hamstring muscle. Calf. Even in the outer left hip along the side body. And at your time, you can begin to walk the hands up. And then take your left hand over to the side or slightly back behind you as you lift the right arm up and roll the hips forward. You're going to lower the right foot down, extend and reach. Full breath in and out. And then gently and slowly lower the hips back down towards your pillow or your mat. So we're going to draw this leg back in. If you have a prop underneath you, you can take it to the side. From here, we're going to come over into a tabletop for a moment. And from tabletop, I invite you just to take your knees under your hips and then take your hips side to side. Left and right. Feet can be toes curled under or tops of the feet reaching towards the mat. And then you might come and gaze over the left shoulder, gazing out your outer left hip, creating a little crescent shape in the side body. Same thing other side, gazing over the right shoulder towards the outer right hip, crescent shape. And then coming back through the center as you lift through the back body. Now this might be where you want or need blocks. They are not required though. You can have your hands on the mat to do this as well. And we're going to begin to lift the left leg back behind us to start. And then shift the left leg forward, coming to a low lunge. Root down through the front foot. Spread the toes wide. Sink the hips down. You might even lift your gaze and breathe. Hands can stay as they are rooting down. They can also come to the top of your thigh, or they can reach into the air. And then if they are lifted, hands can return down. And I invite you to take the hips back, walk your blocks or your hands back and come into your low runner's lunge. So drawing the toes towards you. Breathing into your hamstring and calf again. And then walking that forward. You might even take a little bit of a flow a couple times, moving the hips back and forward as you take your low runner's lunge and your regular low lunge. You might do that one more time. Great. From here, you're going to take your hands and or blocks to the inside of your front foot as you toe heel your front foot to the outer edge of your mat. Now, if this is enough, stay here, and that's perfect. You can also flex your front foot, roll open onto the pinky side edge of your front foot, and that's going to get deeper into your hip flexor muscles. Last option here, you can stay tall. You can also fold down to your forearms. Take about 5 to 6 moments wherever you find yourself. Whenever you feel ready, you can lift from your fold. If you're folded, roll the sole of the foot back down to the mat and walk your foot back in. Returning to your low lunge for a moment. Before stepping this foot back, you might even stretch it back. If you need to get a little bit of a roll or stretch, you can. And then we're going to switch sides. So right leg extends behind you, and then begin to stretch the right foot forward, coming to your low lunge. Root down through all 4 corners of your front foot. Spread the toes wide. Release the hips down as you open through the heart and collarbones. Great. Feel free to curl the back toes under, walk the hips back, walk the hands back, and draw the front toes towards you. And you can pause here or create that rhythmic flow, moving from your low lunge to your low runner's lunge. Maybe one more round of that. And as you return to low lunge, you can take hands to your thigh, maybe lift them into the air if you wish. And then we'll walk the hands to the inside of the front foot. Front foot's going to come to outer edge of the mat. Feel free to roll onto the pinky side edge of your front foot as you flex it. You can stay tall and lifted. You can also fold. About 5 breaths. Noticing what you notice. Noticing the support beneath you still. Remember your intention. Allow yourself to be present with curiosity and compassion. And then at your time, you can begin to lift from your fold. Slowly roll onto the sole of the foot again. Walk the foot in and step this foot back. You might get a big stretch before taking it back to your tabletop. And from tabletop, I invite you to take your child's. So taking big toes together, knees to outer edges of the mat, arms reaching forward as your forehead comes down either to your mat or to a block as you breathe. Allow the heart to melt. Allow your breath to expand through your back body and your side waist. We'll take 2 more moments here as you need them. And when you find that place of completion, always know you can stay there if that feels right to do. When you find that place of completion, you can walk your hands back up, draw your knees back in, and begin to lower yourself back down towards the back body. As you come to your back body once again, just allow your shoulder blades to come a little closer together, your hips to be supported and release. And then from here, we're going to root down through the left foot and begin to cross the right ankle over the left knee. From here, you can lift the left foot up. Weave your hands around the back of your left thigh. A couple of other variations you may wish to take. You can stay here. You can stretch the left leg tall up to the sky. You can also deepen the posture by wrapping your hands around the front of the left shin. So any of those options are welcome. Lovely. We're going to release the left foot down, uncross the ankle, maybe stretch out the right leg for a moment on the mat, nice and long. And then you're going to take the sole of the right foot to the mat as you cross your left ankle above your right knee. Once again, you'll lift your right foot up, weave your hands around the back of the right thigh or around the front of the right shin. And if you're holding onto your thigh, you can also take the option of straightening your right leg up. Find what works for you here and notice how this side feels in comparison to the other. If it feels any similar, any different. Might notice that stretch in the outer hip happening here. These points are all just to notice, not to judge, but just to hold tenderly in our awareness. After your next breath in and out, you can begin to release the right foot down, uncross the ankle, and then come to a reclined butterfly, drawing soles of the feet together. You can also, if you need extra support under your knees, you can take blocks underneath your knees to allow your knees to rest on them. If you don't need that, or if you don't have that today, that is okay. You can just come to your traditional butterfly with arms outstretched on the belly, heart, or one over heart, one over belly. Take time to breathe here. to appreciate the stillness. Oriah, in her book, The Invitation, taken from her invitation, asks 3 questions. These questions I'd like to ask to you. And essentially, they are: what do I want? What do I need? And what do I desire? I invite you just to name all of those in your mind and fill in the blank. I want, fill in the blank. I need, fill in the blank. I desire, fill in the blank. As you hold those in your heart space, I invite you to come to our final resting form. If you're comfortable here in butterfly, you can stay here. You can also outstretch your arms and your legs in your traditional final resting form, allowing toes and heels to fall open to the sides. And I invite you to take a full breath in and a steady breath out. And just begin to notice and soften the space between your eyebrows, muscles, and your forehead. To soften the space around your eyes and cheekbones. As you release your jaw away from the roof of your mouth, allow your neck to be long, your head and shoulders heavy. Allow your heart space to be open and free here, and your belly space soft and unrestricted. Let your arms and legs be completely supported here. Your hands and fingers and toes and practice of sacred ground and of surrender. You to slowly begin to deepen your breath and to make any slight motion comfortable to you, such as wiggling fingers or toes, or taking your head slowly side to side. If you're comfortable here, you're welcome to stay here for several more moments. Or if you prefer, you can bend your knees and turn over to either side of your body to rest your ear on your arm and cradle around your heart space. Whenever you feel ready, you can guide yourself back to a comfortable seated position as we draw our hands together at our heart centers. As you settle back in here, I invite you to take a final full breath in and full breath out. Take a moment to recall any intention or heart focus that you set for your practice that came to mind, or any pieces or piece of the invitation that spoke to you today. Any takeaways. And then reflect on how you can turn this into your committed action, into your journey off the mat. What are you taking with you? And how can you honor your responses to I want, I need, and I desire? And I thank you for sharing in this practice with me today. And grace and peace be with you always. Shalom and namaste.